So this is a pastel painting on a small 3.5 by 2.5 inch piece of watercolor paper, and this is intended to be just a demo of kind of a sunset setting. These go pretty quick. The biggest thing with the watercolor paper versus like a pastel paper is it's not necessarily intended for this medium, so you have a lot of extra dust and things that could kind of come off, so you have to kind of mitigate that as you go. So right here, just putting down some of the blue and getting some of the ocean water in. And this initial part looks a little more rough, and this is kind of the first run of the application of the material, with more to come a little bit later. So just kind of thinking through the color layers and just getting the background kind of filled here with the different colors, got yellows and oranges, and pulling some purples and blues, and then go back and touch up a little bit with some red. So you can kind of see, again, looking at these are half sticks of pastels, pretty chunky little pieces to be using on something this small. So this is kind of a demonstration and an experiment to kind of see how this works at this scale. Alright, now we're going to get a brush with a little bit of alcohol and start kind of blending some of this in, kind of smooth out some of that color. So keeping this thing steady while this working like this is kind of a challenge. So the alcohol kind of picks everything up, kind of like water, and then of course it evaporates pretty quickly, and the pastel is kind of left where you moved it to. So at this point it's kind of like working with watercolor a little bit, but in this case all your pigment's already on the canvas. You're just kind of spreading it out and filling in the gaps. And with these darker colors, kind of have to be careful because it can pull them down. You know, these will very quickly saturate everything else, so I do have to kind of make get an idea of where is this going to and where do I want to stop at. And so just kind of touch up a few spots here and there, and again, this part's kind of intended as the background, and the alcohol will be gone quick enough to come back over with some other pastel sticks in a second. Alright, so now to look at getting a kind of sunset effect kind of going on. And again, just kind of think about layering material in. These are on the soft end of the, or even super soft end of the soft pastels. None of these are like hard versions. So it does not take a whole lot to get the color and pigment to move from the stick to the paper here. And again, with this particular paper, you have to be careful not to get too much down at one time. You can kind of see around the edges where some of the dust and things have kind of come off or chipped off a little bit. Alright, so bring in a little bit of the red. And just get some a little bit different layer of blue in here. Alright, and just a little bit of wave action. trying not to overdo it with this. Alright. Get a little bit more red going here. Alright. Probably getting to the end of what I can do without piling on too much on top of the paper. So go back and just do a little highlights on the waves here. And again, this is just standard watercolor paper. If this were like a pastel paper or something like that, it'd be a little bit different look. But this is getting to the end of the demo, and again, thanks for watching, and tap some of the dust off. And there we go. I'll probably call this one done. Well, maybe. All right, so a little bit more kind of brushing off the pieces.